Good morning, Devils fans. We're talking a back-to-back two-time Stanley Cup winner, as today's spotlight is on Ondrej Palat. Born March 28th, 1991, finally somebody on this list who is older than me, even if it's only by a month and a half, to his father Pavel, a soccer coach, who developed a fun routine during his son's career, where after a playoff goal, he would go out and buy a bottle of rum, and for every assist, a book. For the record, Ondrej has 51 career playoff goals and 50 assists, so his father's collection has grown quite a bit. His mother, Hannah, a teacher, also has her own crazy routines, where she starts out kneading bread for buchty, a Czech sweet bun, at 8 o'clock at night to make it to bed by 9, just to wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning to turn on her son's hockey games from the other side of the world. But before Palat was scoring clutch playoff goals, he grew up in a very modest industrial town of Frýdek. He didn't get a proper pair of skates, the Nike ones he had wanted for years, until he was 10 years old, when his parents were finally able to save up enough for the exact pair he wanted. Unfortunately, a couple weeks later, when they made a pit stop to go food shopping, leaving the skates in a bag in the car, when they returned, they found their car broken into and the skates stolen. But they would make do thanks to the generosity of the local rink where he had been playing at for years. If you want to learn a little bit more about the crazy superstitious routines that his parents go through and just how much he means to his hometown, definitely check out the full article over at The Athletic. I believe it's actually free to read even if you do not have a subscription. Ondrej grew up and would start playing hockey for his hometown of Frýdek and would grow up the pride and joy of this small little industrial town. He would end up playing 4 years in his home country, split between HC Frýdek and HC Vítkovice, both the U18 and U20 leagues, as well as playing for the Czech international junior teams at each stage from U16 to U20. Thanks to a random scout at a random tournament who fell in love with Palat's game in Torun, Poland at the U18 Worlds Tournament, Palat was actually put on the map to be brought over to North America and start his long, successful career. Check out the article on The Athletic about that one as well. However, I think that one's paywalled. Ended up being selected by the Drummondville Voltigeurs, thanks to their scout that they sent overseas, of the QMJHL in 2009, where he ended up playing 2 years there, and in the final season putting up 96 points in 61 games. Unfortunately, Palat would go undrafted in his first year of eligibility, and even after that other crazy season, it seemed like he might go undrafted again. But even as an overager, the staff of Drummondville had to basically beg the Lightning to take Palat in the 7th round, where he was eventually taken at 208th overall, third from last in the 2011 NHL entry draft. His first year pro would be spent in the AHL for the Norfolk Admirals, where he scored 9 goals, 30 points in 61 games, being coached by the one John Cooper. Cooper would even have him healthy scratched at the start of that season. While in Admiral, the team would win 28 straight, a professional hockey record, on the way to winning a Calder Cup. The following season, Ondrej would start with the Lightning's new AHL affiliate, the Syracuse Crunch, where he put up 52 points in 56 games, and then 26 points in 18 playoff games, where Ondrej would have a chance at winning back-to-back Calder Cups, but would fall short in the finals. During that season, Ondrej would get his first crack in the NHL, ending up playing 14 games, scoring 4 goals and 8 points. His first point would come in his very first game, March 4th, 2013, in a loss versus Pittsburgh, and his first goal would come March 16th against Justin Peters of the Carolina Hurricanes. The following season, Palat would make the Lightning's opening night roster out of camp and would remain there the rest of his career, until this most recent season, as we know. He would put up 23 goals, 59 points in 81 games on his way to a Calder Trophy nomination, coming in second place with 5 first-place votes, losing fairly handily to Nathan MacKinnon. Palat would go on to have an incredible career as a Tampa Bay Lightning, as we all know. 143 goals, 280 assists, 423 points in 628 regular season games. 48 goals, 46 assists, 94 points in 138 playoff games. Palat would win back-to-back cups in 2020 and 2021 as the Tampa Bay Lightning. After a third straight cup final, but eventual defeat, Palat would become a free agent, and with Tampa's cap crunch, they'd be unable to afford to keep him. John Cooper, being the only pro coach Ondrej has ever known, and the Lightning his only organization, would find himself on July 14th, 2022, signing a 5-year, $30 million contract with the New Jersey Devils. Palat's first goal as a Devil would come in his third game in an eventual win over the Anaheim Ducks on October 18th, 2022. Unfortunately, Palat would only make it 6 games into the season as a Devil, scoring 3 goals before suffering a groin injury that required surgery that kept him out of the lineup for over 30 games. He would return January 5th, but required a few games to get back into the swing of things, finally recording an assist as a Devil on January 14th on the game-winning goal by Nikita Okhotyuk. He would finish the regular season with 8 goals, 23 points in 49 games. In true Palat fashion, he would make his mark in the playoffs. 3 goals, 7 points in 12 games, most notably assisting on the series-winning goal to Mikey McLeod in Game 7 against the Rangers. It was an up-and-down first year as a Devil for Palat, but I'm expecting big things for him this season. Hopefully injury-free and having a full year to adjust to only his second organization he's ever known in the NHL. Should be a bit more comfortable, a bit more ready for a full season, and I'm excited for it. So what does he bring on the ice, as we got to see him fairly limitedly over the course of the year? Well, Palat's not a prolific goal scorer. He's probably NHL average at best, even arguably slightly below that. But his playmaking is where he really shines. And while not truly elite, he is very, very good at it. He's surprisingly good at rush offense and setting up scoring chances off of the rush. He can throw a hit, receive pucks behind the net. Although neither of these are true features of his game, he can absolutely do them and tends to find himself in that role. But it's not like he's one of the premier guys in the league in either of those areas. Instead, Palat truly thrives in a give-and-go type game. After dispossessing the puck from the opposing player in his own zone, he's really the guy, he isn't really the guy you want to start in the O-zone trying to cycle play. Instead, he thrives starting in his own end, flipping possession and generating grade A chances heading the other way. You wouldn't really think this just off the top of your head about Palat's game, given what we do know about him, but really digging into the numbers on it, that is where he thrives. So seeing that he's going to be pretty much stapled to a third-line role this year, I think we're really going to see him be able to play his game, especially because he should have some couple talented guys on that line along with him. But what about off the ice? Well, we know he's very highly respected in the room. He's been wearing an A for every game he has ever started as a Devil. He runs a youth camp in his hometown in the offseason. Back when Palat was actually a youth, Pavel Kubina would donate gear to his small hometown that him and Palat share. It was actually Kubina who brought the cup to Friedrich Mystic after winning it with the Lightning. Funny how those things work out, small world and all, back in 2004. And it was this that actually sparked the dream for Ondrej to do what he did and bring the cup back to his hometown, which he did twice. The two of them this past year actually linked up with the NHLPA Goals and Dreams to donate gear to disadvantaged youth, a call back to Kubina doing the same when Palat was younger. He's very thoughtful in the answers he gives in interviews, but we really didn't see too much of Ondrej in front of the camera, so I'm looking forward to see if we see an increased role in that area for him on the team. Still has 4 years left to be with us, or if he stays fairly low-key, which I really wouldn't mind either. We have enough talkative and face of the organizations on this team. Ondrej does not need to be that here. Speaking of going forward, what can we expect from Palat? Well, I think he'll have a backbound season. He's now another year older, so unlikely to have, benefits of an aging curve, but he will probably be playing, like I said, entirely on that third line role this season. Although with Lindy and he is Ondrej Palat, I'm sure we'll see him in the top 6 at points, whether it's just shuffling lines in-game or actually starting there. In-game seems more likely, starting less so, but definitely a possibility. He's unlikely to have any sort of career year at this point, although possible, given the deployment he'll have. He's not the flashiest player, but he does absolutely have his moments, as we're going to talk about later, and we've talked about before. But I have a feeling he'll end up being the punching bag of the fan base for the majority of this contract, just given the amount he's being paid. If you want to talk purely production on the ice and a third-line guy, $6 million is a lot to give. But you talk about the pedigree he brings. Again, he shows up in playoffs even in his first year with us. And the locker room presence, those intangibles that people don't really want to talk about too much. Yeah, maybe it's a slight overpay talking pure production regular season, but he's not an absolute slouch in that area. And it really does feel like he brings up enough in the other areas and facets of the game that, especially when the cap jumps, this contract's going to feel like a steal by the end of it. at least by the end, $6 million, even with the full trade protections, in the worst case of scenarios, you can find a way to bury or get rid of that. And he'll have had a very successful career with us by that point. So again, not anything I'm worried about. All that being said, I do think he'll remain consistent over it. I'm not too worried about him falling off completely, but you get older, you never know. He'll keep that value with the team, reliable play, leadership in the room. And then obviously, he's going to keep having those huge moments in playoffs. I don't care how old he gets. I don't think that's ever going to go away. So what are my top 3 moments with Ondrej? So he's only been here 1 year. He didn't even play a full season, but we did get playoff Palat. So 2 of my top 3 is playoffs, but coming in at number 3 is going to be from February 6th, where Palat scored 2 goals in 28 seconds against the Vancouver Canucks. Palat wasn't involved in this, but only 22 seconds later, Jack would also score, giving us 3 goals in 50 seconds, in a game that we actually would end up having to go to overtime to win. But it was a really 28 seconds is awesome, especially the way they came. Check out that highlight if you don't quite remember that game. Coming in at number 2 was going to be Palat's game-winning goal 39 seconds into Game 5 versus the Rangers. What an awesome way to start the game. We were back at home after just winning 2 in a row at MSG, really bringing the series back and being like, hey, we are back in this thing, we can win it. 39 seconds at home, and you could just feel it in the building. We were going to win that one, which we did in shutout fashion. So Palat started the scoring there. And again, playoff Palat, because coming in at number 1, the play that we all know and remember is when he absolutely sunned Adam Fox and Chris Kreider on the forecheck in a 2-on-1 against him play, setting up the assist for the series-winning goal by Mikey McLeod in Game 7 versus the Rangers. I can't tell you how many times I have watched this replay. Palat dogged Fox and Kreider. That play encapsulates what Palat brings to this team. That alone was basically worth that $6 million. That's 1 year, and it wasn't even a full season with us from Palat. I cannot wait to see what the rest of this contract ends up playing out to be, because I think he'll end up growing with this young team. It will keep him youthful, and he's going to end up being an absolute stud. Now, I don't think he's going to end up being a retirement type situation, but a Ring of Honor nominee for the Devils? Certainly possible. Winning multiple cups with an org, as we know, isn't a guarantee to get up in the rafters or even in the Ring of Honor at this point, but hopefully that comes to change in the future, and Palat's going to be here for the main window of this core, even if I think that window goes beyond Palat's contract. So I'm excited to have him here. I think the experience that he brings and the presence in the locker room is well worth the money he has paid. Let me know what you all think, as I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll see everyone again tomorrow morning. Let's go Devils.